is at Manchester United. An embarrassing defeat to Grimsby Town last night, dumped out of the Carabao Cup on penalties. Andre Onana was at fault for the 2 goals, with questions raised again over his future. Let's just remind you what Ruben Amorim had to say about his keeper situation.
When you play against a 4th division team, it's not the goalkeeper, it's everything, it's the environment, it's the way we face the competition. We know that we are in the moment, everything, people will pay attention to everything. It's going to be massive, every detail. And we show that performance today, so my players spoke for me really loud.
So that's what Ruben Amorim had to say, Carve. I mean, he is right to a certain extent. A defeat against Grimsby Town doesn't necessarily just come down to that goalkeeper situation, but it's definitely an issue for Manchester United and has been for a while.
Yeah, it has been for a long, long time. I mean, when they signed Andre Onana, they signed him on the back of one good season he had at Inter Milan. Inter Milan actually got him on a free transfer, but he helped Inter Milan get to the Champions League final, and United had other options, but Erik ten Hag and the director of football at the time decided to sign Onana, and he hasn't been convincing. And there are not that many alternatives for Manchester United at the moment, and we know they've got financial issues as well. I thought Ruben Amorim, after the game yesterday, he was obviously very emotional. He didn't say much about the goalkeeping situation, but again, you got the feeling that he was saying a little bit too much. Yeah. You know, he had his heart on his sleeve again, and I'm not sure that helps Manchester United because they are, even though they're not playing particularly well, there is so much media scrutiny on them. Everything that happens at Manchester United is a big headline, and I think sometimes you need a head coach who just doesn't say very much, rather than be emotional and react and say the kind of things that he sometimes says.
Yeah, now one name that has been floated about, not just for Manchester United but Manchester City, is Gianluigi Donnarumma. Is the financial aspect the reason why Manchester United maybe wouldn't go for someone like Donnarumma? Because he would be a huge, huge upgrade.
Look, if you go back to the old days, when Sir Alex Ferguson was manager of Manchester United, Gianluigi Donnarumma would become a United player. Because obviously everybody knows how good United were under Sir Alex Ferguson. Players like Donnarumma would have been queuing up to move to Old Trafford. But times have changed, things have changed. United, I don't think, have the finances to be able to do a deal for somebody like Gianluigi Donnarumma. Also, they can't offer him European football. I think if Ederson was to leave Manchester City, there's a real possibility that he could end up at Manchester City. Manchester City can afford the financial package it would take to sign him. And obviously they can offer him Champions League football as well. I know a lot of United fans would love to sign Gianluigi Donnarumma. I wouldn't say it's totally impossible. Stranger things have happened on deadline day, but there are no indications coming out of Manchester United whatsoever that they're planning on making a move for Donnarumma.
So you don't think they've got the finances to potentially do that Donnarumma deal? Do they have the finances to complete a deal for Sana Lammens, Royal Antwerp player? Could they get that one over the line if they are looking for?
Well, I think that one would be much more affordable financially. There's talk that it could be around 17, 18 million pounds. The player himself, I think, would want to go to Manchester United. He's somebody who is being talked about as a future Belgium #1, but is he ready to play for Manchester United's first team? Is he ready for the scrutiny that will come along from playing for United? I think he's more one for the future. If they were to sign him, I think obviously Ruben Amorim would look at him in training and maybe he would get his chance. But the other problem United have got is because they're not in Europe and they're not in the Carabao Cup anymore, they're only going to be playing league games and FA Cup games this season.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for Manchester United. Now, European football expert Andy Brassel joined us earlier on Good Morning Transfers. He shared his take on Lammens, but wonders if United should be looking at a bigger name.
The Gigi Donnarumma shadow is not just there because he's 6.5 foot tall. I think you look at Lammens and you think this is another sort of player that if I was him, I'd be thinking, what is awaiting me at United. When I look at similar players, or players of a similar age profile to me who've gone there, have they developed as they should? Have they got closer to fulfilling their potential there? Now, look, Lammens has got everything that suggests that he should be a good Premier League goalkeeper. He's big, he comes for crosses, he's got a decent amount of first-team experience there as well. And United have been interested in him for a while, so this isn't an impulse buy or anything like that. But what happens, he gets there and he has a difficult start. I mean, all of a sudden, you're back to square one. Obviously, Donnarumma was the best goalkeeper in the Champions League last season. Whether he can be that in the Premier League, someone who is not great with his feet, is obviously a phenomenal shot stopper, but it's kind of glued to his line a lot of the time. Does it feel like another potential United disaster if that was something that was going to happen for them?
Right, let's get some more reaction to last night's result. Of course, Manchester United getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Grimsby Town in League Two. Jamie Jackson from The Guardian joins us now. Jamie, you were at the game last night. I mean, it's a simple question. Just how bad was it?
Dire. Probably the worst I've ever seen United play, in the flesh in my job as a correspondent. I've covered them since 2012. There was a game under Moyes in the Champions League. They lost 2-0 at Olympiacos, and they were absolutely awful. They stunk the place out. It was very odd how bad they were that evening in Piraeus, which is the port area of Athens. Last night was worse because it's fourth-tier opposition. Listen, Grimsby were excellent. Grimsby actually played, right, how Manchester United should play. Fast, hard, aggressive, passing it around at the back, then moving forward at the right moments, creating chances. There was like a header from Benjamin Sesko right at the end of the first half, and I was sitting there thinking, oh yes, Manchester United are allowed to attack as well, and that sort of sums up how bad. Yeah, it's the worst I've ever seen them play, as I say, in sort of 12, 13 years of covering them.
Jamie, I'm going to get on to Ruben Amorim in just a second, but you mentioned Benjamin Sesko there. How surprised were you in that penalty shootout that he stepped up so late and let every other single outfield player go in front of him?
I mean, your question has the answer. I mean, he is the new number 9, the leader of the attack. If he cannot be one of the lead-off penalty takers in that situation, because apart from anything else, does he not want to do that himself? As the new player to sort of show his teammates, listen, he can miss that penalty if he does step up sort of 1 to 5. But the point is, he's taken on responsibility, and that would do a lot for him, his standing, Amorim, whether, as I say, he scores it or not. So I cannot, for one reason, or fathom what has gone through his head. And if you are the head coach who's stroked the club, who's invested 74 million pound in this guy, I mean, unless it was under strict instructions from Amorim, don't take it. But I can't believe that either. I mean, what does it say about Sesko to the club, to Amorim, to his players? Listen, it's a snapshot. Hopefully he'll move on and be a lot more positive. But yeah, I mean, it was just very, very confusing. As well as I have to say, and I get it's a superstition thing, Amorim sitting on the bench, I believe it was, rather, because again, I was searching for him on the touchline, where the dugouts were yesterday evening at Blundell Park. It's right below where we sit as the press. I was thinking, where's Amorim at? He's got to be watching this. I kept on scanning, as it went around all the penalties, sort of 10, 11, 12 times, but no, I couldn't see him, and it turns out he wasn't watching. Now, I get, as I say, it's a superstition, but come on, show some leadership. Just stand there. And again, if you lose a shootout, that can happen. But it just seems that is not, in my humble opinion, that is not leadership when you need it most, which is to sort of say, okay, lads, here I am. I'm the head coach. I'm going to watch this with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a weird one from Ruben Amorim. Did you expect him, Jamie, to be under so much pressure so soon into the season?
I kind of did, actually, only because I've been round the block so many times with different manager stroke head coaches at United. Then you factor in how bad they were last season, obviously 15th, lost arguably the worst European club competition final ever to Spurs 1-0. I was at the last friendly, Fiorentina. I took my son, who's a supporter, so I was there as a sort of punter at Old Trafford. Last friendly before the start of the season, and United were flat. They just were. I mean, that can happen, I get that, but I'm not that surprised at all. I don't see anything in the 8 or 9 months he's been in charge to sort of indicate, there's progress. Maybe that will happen. I get that he needs time, but how much time does he need? each club is different, but look at Thomas Frank at Spurs, what he's done in sort of 2 games. I was at the City game last Saturday when, Thomas Frank Spurs did a number on Manchester City at their ground. Amrin's had 8 or 9 months, and I'm not seeing, and I'm being polite, not much, too much progress.
Yeah. What about Andre Onana then? He was at fault for the goals yesterday. I mean, Ruben Amorim said, it's not just down to him, but do Manchester United desperately need a goalkeeper? Is that just as simple as it gets?
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. I mean, take your pick. The first one, he gets beaten at his near post, and the second one, he misses his punch completely. I mean, he's a goalkeeper. He's allowed to use his hands, obviously. I mean, that was. If you're not a United fan, that was hilarious. That was farcical. If you are a United fan or a United player, anyone of a United persuasion, that is, the latest sort of dagger to the heart with regard to the goalkeeper. Because obviously Bayern had played the previous 2 games and, committed mistakes. So yeah, they need a new goalkeeper, and obviously Senny Lammens, as you've been discussing. As Carve rightly says, I'm not sure he's ready to be chucked in. It's interesting. He's 23. He's not yet played for the Belgium senior international side, which I suggest is interesting. So yeah, Donnarumma for me would be a good option. He's available, but yeah, can they afford it? Everything that Carve was rightly saying earlier, just previously, about whether he'd want to go there now. Because what we're describing here, if you zoom out a little bit, is basically, it's still a bit of a mess. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe, having been in there for, what is it, a year and a half now? Certainly a good year. Again, are they really moving forward? Maybe this is the darkest point before the dawn. I like to be glass half full. So maybe, from we're going to have this nadir yesterday evening at Grimsby, and from here on in, they're going to gradually improve. And by Christmas, we're like, okay, we can see it. But so far, you can only go on facts, the evidence of your eyes, the league performance, European competition performance, being knocked out before the transfer window is closed, of the Carabao Cup. These are all facts, and they're not great.
Another fact for you, Jamie, is that Manchester United are struggling to get rid of the players that they've got up for sale. And, that's a big thing. There's 3 or 4 of them that you need to get out, but just are struggling to right now.
Yeah, I mean, Garnacho may go to Chelsea. Jadon Sancho, that's gone completely quiet. I mean, he arrived under Solskjaer, I think, a 75 million pound marquee signing, Europe's next bright thing, and the black hole or vortex that is players' careers at Old Trafford. He's been sucked into that, sadly, for Jadon Sancho. Rasmus Højlund's another one. Kobbie Mainoo wants to leave. Now, here's an interesting one. For me, Kobbie Mainoo is good enough to start for Manchester United, if they were title challengers, never mind sort of, a side that finished 15 is struggling. I mean, he's class. He's a class player. Started the European Championship final for England, FA Cup winning goal. I don't need to go on too much. So yeah, again, this is a function, or this is sort of an emblem of the sort of situation Manchester United, and they can't seem to. How can you not sell one player in the summer? I'm even for someone who covers the club and has covered the club for so long as I described, I am baffled by what is going on there. And trust me, there's been messes before.
Manchester United have been warned their potential next signing will require a miracle to be successful, as the club juggle multiple deals ahead of Monday's deadline. Royal Antwerp goalkeeper Sen Lammens has been strongly linked with a move to Old Trafford this summer in a deal reportedly worth £17 million. United's goalkeeping situation has become a growing concern in recent weeks, prompting the club to consider delving into the transfer market. Altay Bayındır has started in each of United's opening 2 Premier League games ahead of Andre Onana. The Turkey international was strongly criticised after being caught out at a corner for Arsenal's winner on the opening weekend of the season. While he kept his place for Sunday's 1-1 draw with Fulham, he again looked vulnerable when it came to dealing with crosses. With Onana also often called out for mistakes during his 2 years at United, the need for Ruben Amorim to find a new shot-stopper to challenge for the number 1 spot now looks more pressing than ever. As things stand, the Red Devils' hopes of signing Lammens appear to be hanging firmly in the balance, despite fending off interest from Galatasaray. The Daily Mail claims that United are reliant on several other deals falling into place which could impact whether the 23-year-old joins before Monday's transfer deadline. United are still trying to agree a deal with Chelsea for Alejandro Garnacho to move to Stamford Bridge, while Jadon Sancho, Anthony and Tyrell Malaysia are all still at the club and surplus to requirements.